Are you kidding me? Not enough star power? Yeah, because it's certainly not the god-awful booking that you've been using for the last year and a half, or the fact that you put all your eggs in the Roman Reigns basket. Roll the credits. What's up, everybody? It is I, your social pariah turned messiah, your misfit that doesn't know when to quit, the man without the plan, and in case you haven't heard, I always, and I mean always, have the last word. So what's poppin'? Welcome to the last word. This, I guess, is going to be the Road to WrestleMania podcast, because, dear God, I didn't get a chance to do a Royal Rumble review because, as I pointed out on Twitter, my webcam stopped playing nice with my microphone. I finally got the two to play nice again. Thank you, Logitech. And by the time I got everything working again, we just had Elimination Chamber. And for the love of God, we have Fastlane, I think, in a couple weeks. WWE, just really simple, just one pay-per-view between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. We can have one pay-per-view over 2 months, because it gives you enough time, not that you have the ability to do it right now, to write story and book talent to a better point. In fact, Elimination Chamber is probably that pay-per-view you should use, because simply put, the side that didn't win the Royal Rumble gets to have their match to either determine the number one contender, which is what you should have did on SmackDown, not have the champion in the match, or, you can further storylines. Instead of having two pay-per-views where it's just, you feel like you're doing quick storylines to fit these pay-per-views at the cost of WrestleMania. Because that's kind of your problem, Vince, not the lack of star talent. And let's go on that tangent for a second here. Then I'll give my thoughts on the last couple pay-per-views. Not enough talent, Vince? Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Bobby Lashley, Braun Strowman, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose. Hell, Zack Ryder. What the hell's his name? Not Jinder Mahal. You have Randy Orton. As much as I can't stand him, he's still talent. You have Bray Wyatt. You have both Hardy brothers. So no, the issue is not enough talent. The issue you have right now is you don't know what to do with the talent. And I don't mean you specifically, Vince. It's just the people you're employing aren't... I mean, let's just be honest. They suck. There's a reason right now that WWE is hiring creative writing talent. Because, dear God, we need it more than ever. I honestly, with the amount of people asking for the release and AEW kind of right around the corner, getting ready to have their first big pay-per-view or big event, I'm going to stand by what someone else said on Facebook, that right now they're just a t-shirt company until they start putting on a show. But now more than ever, we need competition because the product is so stale in the WWE, and there's nothing giving them enough of a opposition to make them change. Even now, they just announced here today, as I'm recording this, that Roman Reigns is going to be on Monday Night Raw this coming Monday, which should be the 25th, to give an update. First off, let the dude recover. It's leukemia. It's a form of cancer. That's some serious shit, guys. Pardon my French. Let the dude treat and recover. You don't need to bring him on. And kudos to him for coming on, because his speech he gave when he had to kind of semi-retire to go deal with his health, that was the first time I saw that man be him and not that stupid-ass character they turned him into. And I absolutely love him. Is it Mike? Anna Howie, I think is the last name. I like him. I don't like Roman Reigns. I never have. I didn't think the moveset, the skill set, and the ability to give a promo were good enough for the level of elevation he was getting. I think this was somebody, if they allowed him to naturally progress, would do it. But I don't want to go on too many rabbit trails because I'll get into that in a minute too. But I'm happy that he's coming on Raw because I want to make sure he's all right. Because at the end of the day, his health and his livelihood is more important than the industry. That goes for any of these guys. But, so yeah, we're headed to WrestleMania. If you're wondering what I paused myself on before, was I was going to bring up a comment about just... I've said it on my other two videos. I think the last two videos I did here that were on just what's wrong with the WWE. Could you let the guys do their own promos? Stop pre-scripting them. Let them have personality. Because you make Braun look worse every time you give him a scripted promo. None of these guys look good with scripted promos. So I don't want to rehash that. I want to try to keep this video short and to the point. And again, I apologize for the time delay. I meant to do one honestly, one at the beginning of January, and I think I got one around the middle of January. And then I meant to do the Royal Rumble, and I had some technical difficulties. And then just kind of by the time I got everything working again, we were past Elimination Chamber. So let's talk really quick on the two pay-per-views here. Royal Rumble was such a weird show to me. I'm just going to say it. Every women's match was superior to the men's equivalent. The men's title matches are kind of shitty. Just part of my French again. Finn Balor getting his hits in on Brock was nice because it made Brock look vulnerable without... Obviously, Brock wasn't going to lose because the current philosophy is take part-timers and non-professionals. And again, Brock's a little different. He's the part-timer. The quote-unquote non-professional would probably be more Ronda Rousey because she kind of just walked in and had the keys handed to her. And not against her, because she's talented, and I loved her in UFC. And for the 13 seconds of a match at a time we got to see of her. But you just, this idea of putting these people that didn't really pay their dues in the industry, giving them the big push, or giving a guy that wrestles 4 times a year the belt, and then wondering why no one's watching your product, because we know we're not going to see the belt defended. But the Lesnar and Balor match was better than I thought it was going to be. It still wasn't great. The SmackDown match just had that stupid finish where we now have Aaron Rowan as part of the hipster douchebag coalition. And don't get me wrong, I love the heel Daniel Bryan character that he's playing. I love the whole hipster douchebag gimmick. I hope he keeps upping the ante on it. The Women's Rumble match was fantastic. I love the idea of all... Because I think most of us were not, for the most part, deep into women's wrestling. I would assume, if you're watching my show, or just in general, most of us aren't going to know as many as the... Damn, I can't talk today. Many of the female wrestlers as the male wrestlers. So there was a lot of women that came out that were either from NXT, from Mae Young, or the UK NXT, that looked fantastic. Io Shirai was amazing. Pirate Waifu was amazing. If you don't know who that is, it's Kairi Sane. The women's match was a lot of fun. I think it was 100% better than the year before. When I gave my review, and it's still up here on YouTube, so feel free to watch it. Royal Rumble 2018, when they had the first Women's Rumble match, my big complaint was they didn't know how to pace the match. So a lot of the times the women would get knocked down and roll out under the ring instead of just staying on the ground or recover in the corner. This year we didn't have a lot of that. You had the issue with... You had the moment with Vega when she came out and went under the ropes, and then Hornswoggle for some reason chased her out. It was stupid, but it was funny. And then the men's match, you had the same play with Titus O'Neil and Kurt Hawkins, which was funny. And speaking of which, Becky Lynch coming out and winning, because both Rumbles had stupid kind of finish thing to it. The one with Becky Lynch worked, and I'll get to her title match in a minute, because that also was amazing. And then, of course, they screwed the pooch with booking Asuka since, because apparently we can't focus on more than 2 or 3 wrestlers at a time, because we don't have the talent. And again, I'm not a wrestler. I have not been gifted with the ability to wrestle. And again, I know there's a lot of work and stuff like that, but for health reasons, whether I want to be or not, I could probably take a bump or 2 in the ring as part of a promo or something, because I would love to be a manager. I think I've said it before. I would love to go in and immediately have a feud with The Miz, because he's just great on the mic, and I think it would be fun. Because I could tell him, dude, call me whatever stupid thing you can think of, and I'm not going to hold back either, and we can have fun. I would love to take Donovan Dijak and Keith Lee and bring them into the WWE as a tag team and be their manager, because I'm familiar with both guys on the indie scene. I've actually got to meet both guys and see them wrestle live repeatedly. They are hella talented, and both are stars, and I honestly don't think neither should be in NXT, other than I think the main audience probably isn't going to know their names. But talent and just ability to wrestle-wise, they're already main roster material. But Becky Lynch coming out, and for the injured Lana, that was cool. Becky Lynch winning was great because it was all about getting her versus Ronda at Mania. And then now we got to throw Charlotte Flair into the mix because we can't have Ronda eat a loss. Why? Why can't she eat a loss? She's new. It's not like The Undertaker where we were suddenly 10 WrestleManias in and realized he hasn't lost yet. So let's work with that. Ronda may be quitting. There's rumors floating around, nothing confirmed. But she may be done, taking some time off to go have a kid. I think The Miz is taking time off because I think Maurice, the last I read, is pregnant again. But we're just doing stupid things here for the sake of doing stupid things. Charlotte Flair is in this match so she can eat the pin. So Becky can get over further because, whether you like it or not, and I love it, she is the female Stone Cold Steve Austin. And they're going to cement that by putting her in a feud, I believe, probably either right after Mania or going into SummerSlam. She will feud with Stephanie McMahon. It's going to happen because the McMahon family can't keep their asses off TV. And I don't blame them because I wouldn't stay off TV either if I was the owner or one of the promoters. It's just, and I'll transition this into that match. It's just, I don't need to see the McMahons on TV every week. Vince coming out once in a while is great because it's his company. He kind of built it up, although I think with his decision-making right now and his focus being on the XFL, I turn it over to Triple H already because I think he has a better idea of what to do. Although I don't agree with the mentality of, everybody has a role, you should know it and stick to it. Anyone has the ability to be a main eventer with the right booking and obviously the talent to get over with the crowd. And this, we're not going to push the guy because their role is mid-carder is to me is bullshit. Because if the person's over, they're over. I mean, you tried that with Daniel Bryan and just got the crowd behind him more to where he became a main eventer. But transitioning, since I brought up the McMahons, the other match that just did nothing for me was the Miz and Shane winning the tag team titles. And thankfully they dropped them again. And nothing against Shane, but you booked him to be intimidating when out of the 4 guys in the ring, he's the least intimidating because he's not a professional wrestler. That's not taking anything away from Shane, though, because when he does the coast-to-coast, I pop, and I'm impressed because I can't do that. My coast-to-coast would be the third turnbuckle to the floor. Maybe with training I could probably pull off some moves. I think I could probably do a diving knee elbow drop or just a body splash to the outside because it's just a matter of working with gravity. And when you're fat, gravity works really well. But I just didn't like the match. They won. I knew they were going to win. The whole stupid story with Miz's dad never being proud of the Miz, despite the Miz being incredibly accomplished in his career. It just made no sense. And then in the pre-show, we had the Raw Tag Team Championship match. And it ended up going all right later on because they eventually put the belts on the Revival anyways. But you had half of the Revival and half of AOP going up against, dear God, I can't remember who the Raw Tag Team Champions were at the time. Oh, Bobby Roode and the other white dude that one half of American Alpha. I can't remember his name. Unfortunately, before Jason Jordan hurt his neck, they ruined American Alpha by splitting them up for no reason. Well, no valid reason. But what they didn't do, what would have made a more interesting feud and would have carried over a nice feud into WrestleMania, which is the goal here. Again, they're so short-sighted with booking that it's okay, booking into the next pay-per-view versus a long game. You should have had the half AOP, half Revival win. And then you have this best of 7, best of 5, whatever you want to do. Well, and again, I know people are a little down on the best of 7. You had that with the Miz and Dolph Ziggler, and which was an amazing series, as well as, and again, I don't know why people are kind of down on these, because the one with Cesaro and Sheamus was also amazing. So they work when they're done well. But you could have had a best of series feud between American Alpha, Revival, and Authors of Pain. And that would have carried you into Mania, and you could have got it more intense. You could have went a lot of directions with it. But he eventually put the belts on the Revival anyway, so whatever. So, again, they missed an opportunity to actually have something in place going into Mania. And then if we take the Men's Rumble match, I didn't like the finish. As soon as Bobby Lashley attacked Seth Rollins and knocked him out on the outside of the ring, I knew he was eventually going to come in and win it. They sort of teased it with Braun. What they should have done here, if you don't know what happened at the end, both Braun and Seth were on the ring apron from the outside, and Seth hits a curb stomp to finally eliminate Braun. And again, oh great, we're just replacing Roman Reigns with a different member of the Shield. Great, because this isn't old, stale, or anything. And to be fair, Seth Rollins has not been shoved down our throats, so I can give him some credit on this. But out of the three, the one that I'd rather see in the title picture is Dean Ambrose, who may or may not be leaving, because despite confirming the story, it just doesn't seem like he's actually leaving. It seems like they're doing something different there. Since Dean's leaving, he just doesn't care about what his character is doing whatever he wants on camera, which is awesome. Like, he came out, despite being a heel and feuding with Seth for the last couple months, came out a week or so ago on Raw and was like, dude, why didn't you have my back? Like, is Seth looking at him like, what? Which I thought was funny. But what you should have did for the Royal Rumble finish was have both Seth and Braun eliminate each other at the same time. You've done this before, multiple times. And you could have had a feud over the next two pay-per-views, although, like I said at the beginning of the show, one pay-per-view is plenty. Because then you just kind of set up new stories and continuations and do what you need to do going into Mania. You could have had at Elimination Chamber a match where the two fought and the winner got to go to Mania. And you could have even played that further by having a DQ or a double countout or just whatever where they knock each other out. And then you have a triple threat. Again, I think we've had enough triple threat matches with Braun and Brock where Brock doesn't eat the pin. I think we've had enough matches with Brock as the champion. And again, the dude can punch me in the chest and kill me in one shot, so I'm not hating on the guy. I just kind of want to see him go away. That's kind of the same feeling I have with Randy Orton. They've both been around about the same time. John Cena as well. John Cena goes away and comes back every so often, and he's been away long enough where people actually like seeing him. I can't miss you if you don't leave. So I would have did that. I would have had the two of them eliminate each other at the same time and then carry a feud in up until Mania or until at least the next pay-per-view and have a number one contender match. And you can have Seth win with some shenanigans, where maybe Dean comes out and, doing his deal and helps Seth win. That gets Seth into the match. They still keep some positivity on Braun because he didn't lose outright. And again, this works too because Braun didn't get beat up. He just got eliminated. I don't know what their deal is. I know there's on and off backstage issues with Braun. I guess he might have some just hoarding to do in the WWE locker room. But he is the most over guy on Raw, and much like when Bray Wyatt was the most over guy, and he wasn't the guy that WWE wanted, they just book him into oblivion. But it's not enough star talent, is it? Nope. It's not the booking. It's not the shoving Roman Reigns down our throat for 4 years. It's not the obsession with pushing somebody in the Shield over anyone else. It's not enough star power. Because not for nothing, they would have had Samoa Joe in the frickin' Royal Rumble. And then you could have had an Elimination Chamber match where Seth could have came out on top of that. Shenanigans to screw Braun out of winning. Seth looks good. Braun still looks good. Other guys get a chance to look good on Raw. And I would have had Samoa Joe and AJ Styles. Samoa Joe and Daniel Bryan going into WrestleMania. Because, again, not enough star power, but you won't put the belt on Samoa Joe. I mean, you put it on AJ, so I can't say you have a total hate boner for the TNA guys. Because you don't let Bobby Roode do anything. Yeah, okay, he had the U.S. title and the tag team titles, but I completely forgot he worked for the company for a good 3-4 months. So, but what the plans are apparently right now is Kevin Owens has been doing some vignettes of being more of a family man, so I think they're bringing him back as a face, which I think he'd work perfectly as one. I've only seen him as a heel, so I'm interested to see how this works. But I think it's going to be Kevin Owens taking on Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. And for the love of God, put the belt on Kevin Owens, because the dude is amazing. But, and I think that's your other problem right now with WWE, is you've had injuries that really screwed things up. But, so that's kind of my thoughts on Royal Rumble. Elimination Chamber, the chamber match was great. Freaking Kofi Kingston was amazing. And for everybody complaining that they're not putting a belt on him and blah, blah, blah. And there's the argument of the casual racism in the WWE. And I understand the argument, because if you look through their history outside of The Rock, or anybody that has that's half Samoan, they don't put the belt on black people. They don't put the belt. Basically, I in my lifetime, and again, I'm only in my 30s, so I can't go as far back as Bobo Brazil and the dudes my dad knows from when he was growing up. I've never seen them actually put the main title on a non-white or Samoan guy. So I can't, as much as I don't think it matters, because I hate identity politics. I hate the fact that we use any little thing to point out race and ethnicity to kind of draw up hate and division. That's not to say, and again, I'm not going to go political, that's not to say that when there are clear issues, we shouldn't bring them up and talk about them. It's just not everything's an issue and we make it out to be. But I kind of see where people are coming from with the WWE. It would be nice to see R-Truth maybe got proper booking, because the dude was amazing as Ron the Truth Killings in TNA. He had a good run a few years ago. I don't remember what belt he had, though, if he got a belt, but I know he had a good push a few years back. Did Mark Henry hold the WWE title? I know he had the House of Pain booking a few years ago. So I might have already discredited my statement here. Yes, Mark Henry did win the World Heavyweight Championship. So, alright. I've had people in my radio station, if you see on the YouTube channel, I don't get them all the time because it's a college radio station, so if I actually get a decent quality recording of my show, I upload it. But I have dudes at the radio station of all different ethnicities, and we've had those conversations. Sorry for going on a tangent. I'll get back to the Road to WrestleMania stuff. And one of them is the lack of minority pushing in the WWE. I mean, what culture and Cultaholic, what culture and what culture 2.0, both. And I'm not knocking Cultaholic. I have no issue with any of the guys. They're much bigger than I am, so if anything, I'm jealous of them. So I don't turn around and be like I'm trying to start heat. I'm not. I mean, I would have fun having messing with everybody, but it would just be all in fun. But they all point out the foreign character is always the heel, which I think is a load of crap. I've said it before. I think a great push for Rusev or even Shinsuke is the I'm happy to be in America, it's opportunity, and blah, blah, blah. And you have the entitled American heel who thinks they're owed everything. I think that would be a good change of pace, but what do I know? Because it's the lack of star power, not booking, not story. It's almost like the fact that it's still a soap opera, you still need to have story. But, so that's kind of my thoughts on the Royal Rumble. Elimination Chamber, I already said thoughts on Royal Rumble. So back to Elimination Chamber. And the match with Kofi, that's what I was getting at here. Kofi wasn't booked to win. So, I mean, that's what my whole tangent was getting to. People were claiming racism. Kofi took Mustafa Ali's spot because Mustafa Ali got knocked out and got a black guy and a concussion from Randy Orton. And accidents happen, so I'm not gonna hate on Orton for it. I mean, my God, how many people have been injured in Seth Rollins matches? Finn Balor. Accidents happen, but Mustafa Ali was never booked to win. Mustafa Ali was booked to get a big push because they were probably going to put the cruiserweight belt on him, which I think they should because I like the guy. But so Kofi got that push. It went over well enough and got enough pop that he's getting a one-on-one match at Fastlane, or whatever the next pay-per-view is. I think it's Fastlane. So I've already corrected myself. While we have not had a non-white dude, basically, or Samoan, hold the Universal title, we've had Mark Henry and Booker T. Yeah, okay. I'm already discrediting the other arguments. Yeah, Booker T, Mark Henry. There's a few people that have held the belt. So I wouldn't go as far as, and I understand the argument because it does seem to be a very disproportionate share of pushing between different noticeably between some of their white talent and their non-white talent. But the cries of racism probably are a little overplayed. I think a lot of it comes down to looking at their not target demographic, but who is watching wrestling. I mean, I think it's more racist to put the belt on Jinder Mahal because they're doing a promo in India. It'd be like if they're doing a big thing in Japan and that's why they push Shinsuke, not because they're talent. That would be more of an issue. But the Elimination Chamber match was good. The women's match for the tag team titles was good. So I went into it with no expectations. I was expecting a complete disaster, and I was pleasantly surprised. I don't like the fact that I have to go into a lot of WWE pay-per-views right now with the anticipation of it sucking in order to be pleasantly surprised. And I don't think either Royal Rumble or Elimination Chamber were bad pay-per-views. Royal Rumble was a little disappointing in spots just because the men's match is kind of meh. And I think the finishes a lot of people were hit or miss with. I'm fine with the Becky Lynch deal. I would have preferred Braun and Seth eliminating each other at the same time to have a proper something in between the 2 times that Brock Lesnar will be on TV between now and Mania. And something to really do and keep both guys busy because no one cares about Braun Strowman and Baron Corbin. No one. So, we're going into WrestleMania, and I'll try to wrap up here as I'm almost at a half hour, and I want to do this a little bit shorter for you guys. This past Monday on Raw was awesome, by the way. Not the overall show, just you called up Ciampa, you called up Gargano, and a couple other people. Oh, Aleister Black. And then you dropped the North American title to Velveteen Dream on NXT. So I liked that they're bringing up these people. But here's the thing. If you're bringing them up because of no stars, again, Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, Samoa Joe, Elias, freaking Lio Rush, Ricochet, who you just brought up now. You have stars. You don't book them. You freaking run them in the ground. So what are you going to do with Ciampa and Gargano? I cannot pronounce Ciampa's last name properly, so forgive me. They just shouldn't be a tag team. I mean, they can. DIY was great, but I would maybe a few more weeks on NXT for them to kind of do a proper reconcile. Because obviously now Ciampa's going to drop the belt to somebody. Velveteen Dream, I think, should be called up, but a arrogant gay black guy character, I don't know if that's going to get pushed properly. But Velveteen Dream is amazing. Aleister Black is one of the best freaking guys they had going down there. Chris Ono should be called up sometime soon. I do like that you're calling people up because you need to allow some of the newer talent in NXT, Donovan Dijak, Keith Lee, to become in the spotlight because they're stars. They just need the exposure. But I'm happy with the call-ups. I mean, Lars Sullivan, and dude, get the help you need. I'm not mad at him. If you don't know, he kind of no-showed his debut on Raw because of, I guess, a major anxiety problem. I understand anxiety to a degree. I occasionally will have anxiety attacks, but they're very mild. So I'm not comparing the two because everybody's different. But a gun to your face while working retail and 12 years of doing customer service work, along other things, can kind of wear your nerves a little. So that's just my background. I don't know with Lars because it is a chemical reaction that triggers anxiety. It's too much GABA, I think, is the chemical that can cause anxiety attacks. So when it is something that's a chemical issue, you can't help that. But it basically seems like Vince McMahon has given up on Lars, and you know what? From a business standpoint, that's the right decision because you can't really try to push or move a guy that you can't rely on. So for both sakes, I'm hoping Larson goes and gets himself taken care of because self-care is definitely important right now. But Raw had those guys called up. So you had Ricochet, you had Gargano, Ciampa, Aleister Black, another female wrestler who I can't think of. So let's do that. NXT. Ricochet. All right. Whatever. I'm not. I'm not fighting with this. Trying to pull up the article and I'm finding everything but the who they were. But you even have EC3 up right now, so you have guys that are talented. I don't really see much in EC3; it just seems very generic to me. But everybody's online seems to like him, so I'm gonna give him a shot. You call these people up because you don't have stars, but you don't know what you're doing with any of them you have. So really, it's not a star issue. So I like where they're headed though, because you could have an amazing feud between the Revival and DIY, but you could also have had an equally amazing feud with the Revival and AOP. Or I don't know, what the hell are you doing with Sanity? Oh, one thing I forgot that I'm going to mention now. The Nikki Cross promo before the Rumble was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I'm sorry, I know it's part of her character. And she even called herself Necky Cross in the promo. And it was just the dumbest thing, but I absolutely loved it for as dumb as it was. But I love the whole Sanity gimmick, where these people are just nuts. And where the hell are they now? So again, not enough stars. No, it's your booking. So, I'm going to wrap up here. Going into Mania, we've had 2 pay-per-views down. We have 1 more to go. I don't want to do a combo Mania and Fastlane review, so I'm going to try to do a proper review of Fastlane before Mania. But to recap here, it should have been Rollins and Rollins and Strowman. Sorry. Tired today. Been doing a bunch of classwork, so my brain's a little fried at the moment. So it should have been the 2 of them in a feud for who would be the number 1 contender. It should honestly be Samoa Joe facing Daniel Bryan. Shinsuke and Rusev, I don't know what they're doing with them. They're wasting both of them right now, but I don't care. The Usos are now the tag team champions again, despite saying they want their release. I don't know, maybe put the belts on Sanity, or it's been long enough where I think you could put the belts on the New Day, and I would use the New Day as a transitional champion to push a younger, fresher tag team. Because the New Day don't need to have belts to be relevant. I maybe would put the IC title, US title as the one that's on SmackDown right now. I'd put that on one of the New Day members. Have them still be the trio. Hell, if you want to even introduce Freebird single defenses with the Freebird rule, that would be funny. But honestly, it should be either Big E or Xavier Woods. I like Kofi, but out of the 3, Big E I like, but his finisher's horrible. And I think Xavier Woods is a nice blend of the 2 as far as overall ability. And plus, I thought he was hysterical as Consequences Creed in TNA. So I would maybe put the U.S. title on one of them and just have something going on with them. So they're on TV. They're getting a bit of a singles push. And if your plan is to eventually break them up, you can use a singles title as the means to do it. But I don't think you should break them up anytime soon because they're printing money for you still. But I don't know what they're going to do going into Mania. We have, again, 1 more pay-per-view. We'll see what happens there. But Rumble wasn't bad. The men's matches were meh. The finish of the men's Rumble could have been better. The women's Rumble match was awesome and overall. And I didn't bring it up, but the Nia Jax thing screwing over R-Truth, which I kind of got into but didn't go into, so I'll do that now. R-Truth deserves a decent push. I don't necessarily think he should be the main champion, but an IC title championship or something where he's not being portrayed as a moron would be nice. But Nia Jax coming out and getting in the ring and then basically getting 619'd and RKO'd was hysterical to me. And I like that they're pushing that envelope a little. But then we're just going to regress 50 years backwards when you go back to Saudi Arabia for your next, was it $20 million pay-per-view? So, meh. Elimination Chamber was a lot better. Just, I would have did things differently. So, from a booking standpoint, I think we could have had a number 1 contender match instead of throwing Daniel Bryan in the title match. If you're going to not put Brock on every show, then you can get away with not having the other title on every show. But it was nice for the first time in a couple years that the WWE Championship, the Heavyweight Championship, was actually the main event. Lately, they've been throwing it in the middle of the pay-per-view and treating it like a booby prize or a consolation prize. So it's nice to see it getting treated with some legitimacy. I expect a lot to happen after WrestleMania because they are slowly transitioning over to having the show on Fox. Fox spent a lot of money on this, and they're already making demands for like top-tier talent on SmackDown, other side shows on Fox, and just I think you're going to see a shift in maybe more seriousness to the product, a little less PG and more PG-13, as that's a lot of money to lose if Fox pulls out because of ratings. But, so that's kind of my take. We're headed to WrestleMania. Again, the last two pay-per-views by no means were bad. One was average, one was a lot better than average because I had no expectations going into it. This past Monday on Raw and even carried over into Tuesday on SmackDown with the NXT call-ups was a great idea. I have no faith in the product right now because I feel like they're just going to squander this like they have with every other NXT call-up. I mean, you had the right idea when you put the Universal title on Finn Balor. And he got hurt, and again, it was an accident, so I'm not hating on Seth for it, but you keep saying you don't think people are over with the fans, and then you keep putting other people over and your ratings drop. You have a disconnect with your fans right now, and you can't do everything the fans want. Because let me be honest, I'm a huge World of Warcraft guy. If you watch my Twitch channel, I have streamed it a couple times during the beta for the new expansion and just for ha-has. You can't do everything the fans want because a lot of people want stupid things that wouldn't work. There's maybe long-term stories, there's business decisions that have to be made that would be contradicted by doing everything we want as fans. I want Braun Strowman to have a monster title run. I don't see any reason why they aren't doing this, but there may be a business decision, a locker room decision, a reason to not do it. And I know for a while his moveset was weak, but so was John Cena, so was Roman Reigns, so was Hulk Hogan's. But Braun's now incorporating a nice chokeslam into his repertoire. I can never pronounce that word. So maybe it's just a matter of letting him develop his skill set more, and they'll eventually do it. But I think this decision to push celebrities and part-timers at the expense of I can't say more dedicated, but that's kind of what it comes off like at the expense of your more dedicated, your full-time wrestlers, is just going to further push them away from you and over to AEW. I mean, you had Mike Kanellis, Dolph Ziggler, the Revival, and a few other people all rumored to be wanting to release to go over to AEW. And now you're aggressively trying to sign indie people to contracts because you're afraid of AEW. How about being the better product? Be better. Competition's good. You struggled during the early part of the Monday Night Wars, but then that elevated your product to such a level that you basically obliterated WCW. And part of that, honestly, I don't need to do a video on it. Go watch Wrestling with Regret and a few other people. They've all done videos on it, and maybe someday I'll do a Death of WCW video. WCW, their booking and their decision-making ran them into the ground. Not just WWE getting better, but WCW made the WWE get better. We need AEW, we need Ring of Honor, we need these other potential big-name promotions to make the WWE better. So I welcome AEW. I welcome a job with AEW. I'm graduating in May. I am going to have a comm degree. I have experience speaking. I at least have some understanding of the product. And I'm a fan. I think those are all great things. So hey, I'll take a job with WWE. I don't care. But that's really where we're at. Things are sloppy. I have no confidence right now, which is scary. But I'm looking forward to WrestleMania, and I'm looking forward to Roman giving his update here on Monday. But that's the road to WrestleMania. I will do probably a little bit more here after the next pay-per-view when we kind of have the solidified pay-per-view card. Because I look forward to 6 hours of pay-per-view. Honestly, guys, I'm sorry. I hope that it's shorter. I think 4 hours is the absolute longest a pay-per-view should be. The 6-hour deal they turned WrestleMania into. By halfway through the show, my attention span's burnt. But hey, it's wrestling. It's still fun. It's the great American soap opera. I used to call it the great male soap opera, but welcome, ladies. I'm glad you have a legit product to cheer for, and welcome, Lady Talent, because y'all are amazing. I'm honestly looking forward to Becky Lynch and Ronda the most right now, because the whole man gimmick is the freaking great. Becky ran with it so damn well. Asuka, she's still waifu. I say that jokingly. Asuka's phenomenally talented. Is probably talent-wise their best female wrestler on the card. Maybe. It's probably... There's 3 that you can interchange. 4 maybe, because I could throw Ronda in that mix. So I would say Asuka, Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda. 1 through 4 can change orders constantly. But I hope they do something proper with her, because you kind of screwed her over last Mania. And just, we'll see where we go. But that's it from me. I want to thank you guys for tuning in and keeping me company. I'm about 10 minutes less than I normally am. I'm at about 40-minute mark. I want to thank y'all. Keep an eye out on the channel. I have some other selling. Some other projects I'm working on, including a all-purpose podcast with a couple friends of mine just called Divide by Zero. I'm trying to talk them into doing it. It would be audio with probably something on the background just to occupy the YouTube screen. Because it would be myself and the rest probably through Discord or some other means, just talking. And I think it would be fun. But thank you all for keeping me company today and tuning in. And as always, I am the social pariah turned messiah. I am the misfit that doesn't know when to quit. I am the man without a plan. And in case you haven't heard, I always, and I mean always, have the last word. Peace out. Stay classy.